that moment, I would like to hand over to Professor Alberto Pratelli from Udine to let him untangle the mysterious title Avant-Garde Onward-to-Where.
Oh, yes. So before so that I can read, before I begin, I have a note to say that I discovered that after 3 years of silence, I'm no longer able to speak or speak English. So I put a lot of text on the PowerPoint. But for the kind translator, I will go through only through the black text, the black words. So thank you very much for being here. As many years that this happened, and it's very strange thinking about this very conference to speak at Avant-Garde. At this conference, because normally Avant-Garde has to be against the tradition, but we are here at a conference that is now perhaps one of the longest traditions of the last century. So really interesting for this. Normally, speaking of how the name started, Avant-Garde is an old-fashioned term. A term that underwent a dramatic change in its meaning during the 20th century, but it was only a war-related term. In the old dictionary, only war-related term. In the following dictionary, you see as a second meaning artistic and literary movement characterized by polemical and innovative attitude. And then later, in the dictionary about art, it's a term used to refer to artists and especially groups who committed to experimenting with new languages, finds themselves operating in a position detached from dominant practice of the moment. So normally our problem is to find the kind of tradition by which an avant-garde can be measured. If you speak about experimentation, but you need a tradition to be reacted, seeking everything that breaks the rules. But what if there are no rules? They don't know what to think about this. Everyone today claims to be in the forefront. So I remember the Snow White stepmother and their mirror, Spieglein on der Wand, wer ist die schönste im ganzen Land? Now, today, we will say, selfie, selfie in my hand, who is ahead in all the land? But all the people think to be ahead. We see in every kind of conference, a senior executive, a CEO, a superb communicator, he's shouting to us, the future is now. Of course, the future is now. That is a wonderful slogan, loved and acclaimed. A true avant-garde slogan. But if we stop thinking for a moment, which is something not to be expected today, to stop to think a moment, we might notice a small problem. What does this slogan mean? Actually, it means nothing. The future is now. If we think carefully, the sentence might even make sense, but its meaning taken literally would be tragic. Yes, the future is now. We can also say the world will finish today. It's the same that the future is now. Perhaps, so I prefer to think as in the past. I remember that after all, Alice's White Rabbit was more up to date. He who with his watch in hand, he was always running, knowing that if he didn't run, he wouldn't stay still, but it would fall behind. That is perhaps the pocket watch he wore would be now a little out of fashion, that's sure. But he was no more behind than today's manager. And this is well explained by the Queen in the following section of the book. Now, cried the Queen, faster, faster. Well, in our country, said Alice, you would generally get to somewhere else if you ran very fast for a long time. He was still panting a little. A slow sort of country, said the Queen. Now here, you see, it takes all the runnings you can do to keep in the same place. If you want to get somewhere else, you must run at least twice as fast as this. And it's beautiful to remember that Martin Gardner, noting about this, he quotes that this has been the most quoted sentence of the book of all the quoted Dawn, this was the most important. So I tried to search what was the Avant-Garde then and how it was the interpretation of the people then. And now I look back. What was architecture really like in the early 20th century? What the people thought about it. That was completely different, I think. I believe that the reality was very different from what the most famous texts are telling to us. Here a few examples to show, to understand something very strange. I find this Les Monographies du Bâtiment Moderne. They were not a magazine. They were really the sheets, a monograph, large format drawings, centimeter 30 for 40, large, very clear line drawings, perhaps taken and reconstructed from space and picture. Here is the Maison du Peuple. So now we will see the picture, very beautiful. I believe that the reality. No, I took the wrong click. La Maison du Peuple, and this curious building is explained. Contains a cafe restaurant, a bakery, a festival hall, which is why we classified it as a casino theater, designed for workers. La Maison du Peuple. We are at Anversa, and then these are. No one then spoke of Art Nouveau, or as later it was called in Italy, Liberty, but the explanation focused on the novelty of the subject, the novelty of architectural language, the new possibility offered by the materials and technique. The building was there mentioned as interesting, nothing more. Today, the facade pops up immediately if you click von Asper and Anvers. It comes out this. Another thing that is to be noted is that the explanation in the monograph text has very few. Well, the explanation are what you see below in the picture. Just some necessary net. Everything is left to large illustration. The some lettering is written into the picture, perhaps written with a standardograph, so written with hand, with in Italy we call it normograph. I don't know what is the right translation. These are the pictures. This size, very, very, I think, very beautiful, and we have no time to see all the details. But what is extraordinary, that which is very different from today, if you only click on Wikipedia, we can find it comes up, pops up this, that is the same after 100 years, explaining that is considered to be one of the most beautiful Art Nouveau facade in Antwerp. It was quoted as curious building when they did it. Another example, a metro station in Paris. In this monography, Bernard, yes, we already spoke about the picture. We are in 1919. This is a picturesque station. It's located in the extension of the railway tracks of the ring, and then it is the explanation how they did, and then there are all the very beautiful drawings to explain the architectural details, and the passenger building is crowned by a floor containing the accommodation of the station manager with the help of 2 staircases. A beautiful open work footbridge connects the platform with the upper level, and it explains with very few words. The words that you see in this picture below are all what is written in the monograph. This is the quoted. I was happy to see that now, today, this part was covered. Now the metro is underground, is covered underground. The explanation finished saying, "has succeeded in spite of numerous difficulties in constructing a building equally remarkable for its original appearance and for its comfortable installation." Always explaining that it's the new possibility used to solve a new problem, not speaking about really general problem of architecture. There are always architects and engineers working together. And now, today, you can see if you click on Google Maps, you search this station, as it is today, and you see that they are using this very drawing, this, not mine, but this that you see, to show the history of the station. These are the drawing that we have seen. They are explained in Paris, you can find in the street. Or say something completely different, architecture der Neuzeit, architecture of the future, selected collection of modern facade of details. Here we are a little earlier. There are original photographs after nurturing color type. Here the technology was to take a very perfect picture photograph, vertical. That is very difficult. So the book is only with done with, you see, 44 or 50 large sheets, accurate, perfectly vertical photographs. Such is the importance of this photograph, probably printed in color type, white collodion, was that this large format monographs consist only of the tables, which show facades on important details. No other explanation is put. There are printed quite heavy cardboard, separated, almost sepia-colored black, in separate sheets, as if each of these were a single work of art. But here is one in Nuremberg, another in Berlin. No, there is. What is happening here? Okay, the other in Berlin we don't see. It was before, it disappeared. Later, I have wanted to see something that now we will see something that you know very well, but very strange explanation. While Terragni and many others were building new and fascinating architecture, many wondered about the meaning of the most significant innovation. He's from Politecnico. We are in 1928, speaking about the architecture of the concrete building. And Architettura del cemento armato, the concrete, a new concrete architecture, the author is speaking about the Dessau School of Arts and Craft. That we know that this Walter Gropius building, this They use a picture from other magazines. They are not Italian, were not very rich, and they used what they could. The school later became renewed as the Bauhaus, but they don't speak about Bauhaus here. The very strange is the explanation. Pictures show the School of Art and Craft, whose external structure is inspired by the new building trends that make use of the deployment of certain secondary construction details to achieve a certain architectural effect, such as, in this case, the series of small overhanging terraces on the side and the 3 long racks on the right head of the workroom wing, these big facade, glass facades that he doesn't like too much. The author shows an interesting review of the use of reinforced concrete for a very variety of buildings. But while appreciating their qualities, usefulness, and the way in which they respond to contemporary needs, he does not appear convinced. This brief review of various types of modern architecture gives us an idea of the brave architectural innovation that can be achieved, but leaves us unsatisfied and perplexed from an architectural point of view. And then other Siemensstadt in Berlin, that another that you know very well, that another very strange explanation. Here is all the technical explanation is described how it works. This is a picture that you know very well. And the piece seems rather cold. But here, really, you discover somebody who is trying to understand. But one can see that these projects are quite foreign to him, to the author. He can also say that he finds the idea convincing. Taken individually, each building is cold, with no proper life, but the wall, through the play of lines and volumes, acquires a great harmony. And then he concludes, in short, he doesn't like the building. What strikes me at first sight is the cheerful appearance of the wall, sober, well-chosen play of colors in decoration, large double windows, healthy exposure to air and light, walls, gardens, balconies, etc., etc., etc. What is useful in the big cities. The same is for another abitazioni popolari, the housing in Vienna. The author is amazed by the ability of planners and the municipality to solve the housing problem through minimal, well-designed units, through the addition of many common spaces and services. And I go very fast because we know absolutely well this, but there is a note that is very important. Collective housing would be a more appropriate term because the neighborhoods established in Vienna are equipped with all the services necessary for a well-organized community: kindergarten, school, toilet, laundry, food shops, a remarkable extent of work carried out by the municipality from a social, economical, hygienic point of view, etc., etc., etc. I have to note that this is written in the 30s. The author is an author that has to pretend to be fascist if he wants to work. And he's speaking of what we now know as a Red Vienna. So it's very strange the way we see now what happened then. And here are the very well-known interior and all the organization of the society there. But perhaps the innovation in progress at that time was so strong that the virtual reality of the avant-garde was forgotten. It was something more extraordinary. And here we see an amazing paper from about the skyscraper in North America by Bruno Bollis, this narrative involves to tell something that was read in the opposite way to how we would perhaps read it today. Skyscraper seems the only real and magical, yet peaceful and positive stop in a world as chaotic and crazy as America must have seemed to an Italian at time. Il Chrysler Building, we know this currently, then the tallest skyscraper, it's a long narration, and this Chrysler, it is salvation when he discovers. All the light there are so soft and filtered, and at times so warm and so cold that I have the impression of being in a sea cave. The building's atmosphere is undoubtedly unreal, a magical cave of Arabian night, dramatizing goods and environment enough is one of the dogma of tensionism, that he says that tensionism is the architectural school around there. And then you see the Fisher, the style has some Gothic features, the outer cladding is totally white marble, here is said to be Carrara marble, so but we don't read it. It's very beautiful to read this story, but in the dark night, the suburb mall welcomes the lights of 1,000 spotlights and stands against the background of the sky. Unreal magic and fairy-like, like a diva on the black velvet of a curtain. This is how he sees the skyscraper. And to show that he doesn't take pictures, but he sees here A City of Tomorrow by Hugo Ferris, that is the picture, the painter who he uses to show the skyscraper. Photographs never render the true physiognomy of these giants, which today are draped in ultra-modern, sympathetic and American clothes. I therefore choose to illustrate these pages with drawing of Hugo Ferris. So, some conclusion, I really like to discover this very strange situation. I choose only very well-known examples with a little strange explanation. I will have some conclusion. I don't know, because what does avant-garde architecture look like today? I was thinking of showing the project. I liked it in Architecture magazine today, but I think it's pointless. We know that all architecture today is claiming to be non-traditional, spatial, advanced, and sustainable. Furthermore, to be avant-garde, it was necessary, if you go literally to the meaning of the word from an artistic point of view, it's necessary to be in a group, not alone. No one alone is avant-garde, even if it anticipates everyone. An elitist character is required, to feel like a closed circle, to have a manifesto, to have a way of act very different from now. And in a world where millions of people are trying to attract followers, and therefore where millions of people claim to be avant-garde, it's virtually impossible to avant-garde. Where the avant-garde claims to be mainstream, what on earth will be avant-garde? So I can reconsider many new things of the early 20th century, of the last century, breaking with the present, presumption of being superior, race issues, exaltation from new technologies. Doesn't this remind you of something? It seems really this century. So it's better to stop, I think, to think about this. We don't know if we are falling behind or if we are a lap ahead. I'm sure, Alice, remarks about the memory. My memory works only one way. I can't remember things before they happen. It's a poor sort of memory that only works backward, the Queen remarked. So you have to say that it's better to think a little about what is happening and looking for a condition. The only conclusion, a long good advice that I find, if you see an avant-garde passing by, remember that it's really well worth studying it, loving it, learning from it, but don't follow it. It will take you to nowhere. So I think I have to finish and to thank you very much for this possibility.